If we wanted to hear you yap, we would be doing a reaction stream to one of your stupid fucking Anna Kasparian chink fucking shows. All right. Yeah, we're not here to watch you yap. We're here to watch you debate. Okay, this is meant to be a debate, not a schizophrenic rambles of an old man way past his prime taking Ozempic in order to reduce the weight that he has because he's too lazy to be bothered by it.
Time to answer, brother. You're making up stuff about me. I didn't say that.
Okay,
so you want to talk about
Christ,
straw men? You're inventing things.
Is he on Ozempic? I don't know, and I don't care. Okay, it's just really funny. It's a really funny meme that other people have made that he's on Ozempic. Okay.
Things on the spot.
You guys, it's a mistake. So okay, now when you're talking.
Listen, I'm just looking for any angle to roast people. Okay.
About the Pentagon cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that I thought, oh my God, Elon's such a good guy. And Trump's such a good guy, even though I've spoken out against them at every single turn. And then I magically thought, oh, I bet they become liberals overnight, progressives overnight. No, you put out the Pentagon thing so that they're stuck either way. That's why.
It's not working? Like you're saying I'm not funny? Is that what you're saying? Saying that...
Bernie and Roe joined me.
How dare you?
Because either they cut the Pentagon, we go, yes, mission accomplished. We got a tiny, tiny amount accomplished during a Trump reign, which seemed
he's
impossible.
still fat. He's big boned, okay? He's big boned.
Or they don't cut the Pentagon and they add to it. And then we all come out, as I did and Bernie and Roe did, and go, see.
Ozempic is based if you're trying to improve your health and other approaches haven't worked. I mean, if you have the money to afford it, but you also have to acknowledge you might be taking away diabetes medication from diabetes people, okay? Because it's diabetes medication, first and foremost, okay?
We told you. They're hypocrites. The leaders of your party never intended to cut the Pentagon. MAGA, they were lying to you. Now,
Krystal, does MAGA care, Cenk? Did that work? Did MAGA care?
Yes, they do care.
No,
I start on it on Monday for diabetes. Oh, cool. Good for you. Hopefully a shortage isn't like fucking you up. All right.
No, okay.
By the way, I'm pretty sure like if you've lost weight because of Ozempic and you get off of it because I don't know, it's too expensive or something, or you think that you're just gonna stay skinny. I'm pretty sure I saw like a study or something that says like the weight will just come back. Like slowly most of the time. Okay, but
Krystal,
I've seen zero pushback on the Pentagon money. Let me just say, because I let you go on for a little while.
I don't think it's in shortage anymore, but could be wrong. Corey says actually it is.
Oh, I know.
There were two tactics that were floated by me and by you in our conversation. Okay, you said, I think it's great that Elon's responding to me, Don Jr.'s responding to me, like we have more of a chance. No, you said we have more of a chance with these guys to cut the Pentagon budget than we don't. And I said nothing good's going to come out of this. And so
I saw an ad for Ozempic that was only $125 a month. If it's just $125 a month, that's pretty damn cheap. Okay, it's much less than 1,000. But I'm pretty sure it's like there's a lot more like I don't know, like buts than that, right? Like, oh, but it's this, but it's that, or whatever the fuck. Okay, but you know,
important thing to do is to resist the project outright because we don't want a bunch of
dude, listen, all right, I'm not arguing against Ozempic. Okay, fuck, I'm just talking about what the studies say. All right, if you want to try Ozempic, go ahead and do it. Okay, I am gonna judge you, but go ahead and do it. All right, because there's some part of me that thinks like, oh wow, you know what? You're not willing to put in the because it's a lot of stolen valor, right? Does that make sense? It's stolen valor. There is a part of weight loss that is that feels like it is very much like, oh, you put in the effort, you've lost the weight, so you look impressive, right? And people are happy for you, right? But now these days it feels as though like, oh, did you take Ozempic to become skinnier or did you not? Like if you lost weight rapidly, right? Back in the day, losing weight used to mean something, okay? I'm just saying.
Richest man on the planet running our government. And so we saw how this played out.
Yeah,
The Pentagon,
that's
hold
right.
on.
Now,
The Pentagon did not get cut. And actually what happened is all of the liberal and left organizing against Tesla, against the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, against Elon directly, tanked his popularity to the point that
Do you feel the same way about plastic surgery? If I was living back then, yeah, I would feel the same way about plastic surgery, 100%. Yeah. Like if I was living back then and, you know, they're like societally wise, it is meant to look like a valor kind of deal, then yeah, I would agree. Yes. Yep. But now that time has passed and it's already too late to mourn it, you know? Because that time has already passed. But right now the weight loss valor is not yet gone, you know? So you got to defend what you have, all right?
Trump felt he was a political liability and the whole project had to be scrapped. So the tactic of let's work with them and try to cut the Pentagon budget failed. The tactic of let's resist this project outright and make the case.
There's nothing noble in suffering for the sake of suffering. I would probably disagree with that. Like the thing is I totally acknowledge, like for example, the student debt problem, right? Like if we all forgive student debt, the people who have worked through student debt, you know, who have done that, right? I feel like then I would invalidate the struggles that they went through in order to pay off student debt like very slowly, right? Through hard work and stuff. Like I feel like it would kind of invalidate that. But because at some point you just become a little bit too edgy, you know? You become a little bit too insensitive to people's feelings. Yeah, I don't think that's good either. Okay.
And make Elon himself politically toxic.
For the record, I'm all for like improvement via like medical miracles, okay? I'm all for that, but you know, I feel like it's good to also be a little bit cognizant.
Succeeded.
so Krystal, we do live in two different worlds. It's fascinating to see. It's amazing to see. So number one, the project of saying cut the Pentagon worked. Why did it work? Because they cut the Pentagon, it magically became progressives overnight? No, it worked because it showed and highlighted their hypocrisy, that they weren't going to cut the Pentagon. And now I get it, guys. Especially if you're in the audience, you're not seeing it. I get it, and I'm not saying that as an insult. But you're not seeing it.
So
because
you
you're not
won
engaging.
because the Pentagon budget went up, even though you thought that the Pentagon budget would get cut.
Can I finish? Okay. So the reason you're not seeing it is because you're not engaging with MAGA, and that's okay. And you don't want to engage with MAGA. I got it.
Do you know who I am? Do you know the show I host?
I don't know if you know who you are.
Who are you talking to right now?
Okay.
So someone should do like a fucking speak time comparison between Krystal Ball and Cenk, all right? Because Cenk is here complaining about like the amount of time that he can't speak or something like that. But I just don't think that's true whatsoever. Like, to me, it just seems as though Cenk wants to have his time. Like, he wants to treat this as a normal TYT episode, right? Yeah. Bro, I bet it's even. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe it's my perception. Maybe it's my perception that Cenk is just, like, going fucking balls to the wall. Like, monologue, soliloquy, Shakespeare mode. But, I don't know.
Host a show with Sagar and Jetty and Emily Jasinski every day.
Okay, so Krystal,
no one in this room talks more to MAGA than I do, okay?
Yeah, okay. But okay, so are you saying that none of the MAGA voters were thrilled that they added to the Pentagon? Is that what you're saying?
They don't give a shit because Trump did it.
Elon and Trump.
No, you guys were wrong.
Elon and Trump and Don Jr., Cenk, lied to you from the beginning when they pretended like there was even a 1% chance of it. So when people told you at the time, though.
Uh-oh, Krystal Ball tagging out. In comes the husband. By the way, I still think Krystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske, no matter how much I disagree with them, I think that they're a cute couple, okay? I do think, fuck it, I will say it, okay? I think they're a cute couple. Yeah, I do think so. Yeah, it's very clear to me that they are a power couple. It's very clear to me that they both like politics. It's very clear to me that they enjoy discussing politics together because it's their unified interest, okay? And they very much display their love for one another every single time they create like a duo kind of episode, okay? I fully ship it, okay? I fully ship it, all right? As much as I disagree with these two, okay? As much as their retarded opinions sometimes appear, all right? Shops looking for a crystal ball on God for real, okay? Yeah.
Resist them outright and point out that they're frauds. Don't pretend like maybe they'll...
I mean, isn't everyone looking for their crystal ball? Or Kyle Kalinske?
Cut it. That was kind of the point.
You guys have a totally ridiculous, All right, let me not be...
I mean, again, this is a wife-husband power couple, dude. 100%. I fully support.
Something. We
Based.
disagree on strategy. Okay.
Definitely,
So,
yes.
okay, yeah. This whole idea that you're making
Okay,
a difference because Donald Trump is listening to the left, I can't believe you guys think that. That sounds totally detached from reality.
I'll make that case in a minute.
Why is Elon Musk out? Because people burn Tesla cars? I mean, Krystal, you said that in the intro. Are you serious? No, Elon's out because his policies were always deeply unpopular. No one wanted those cuts.
Yeah,
Jeep
and who
MAGA
pressed that
wanted
case?
them, and they're in La La Land.
Cenk, and who pressed that case?
The
It was
left
the
and
left and
liberals
liberals
in the street.
Joe Rogan hosted him on his podcast to pump him up.
Guys,
Joe Rogan,
guys,
think about, but Cenk, think about this.
You're doing this
Think about this.
unbelievable straw man.
No.
Hold on, can I just finish?
Let me just finish my thought here, okay? Rogan hosted Zuckerberg and Andreessen to attack the CFPB.
Of course he did.
To gut and attack the
Be a Bernie
CFPB.
Sanders progressive overnight?
No,
Are
but
you insane? No, guys.
Are you insane? You were the one who apparently thought that. Cenk,
no, but
if anything is
Krystal,
going
do
to
you
be
really think
populist,
that I
hold
thought that
on, Cenk. Let me finish a thought. If anything, if the populist right stands for anything, you would think it would be an anti-scam bureau that is wildly effective. But no, and actually stood up against debanking conservatives. But no, what did Rogan do and what did they cheer for with Elon with the chainsaw? Completely gutting not only the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Trump gutting the National Labor Relations Board, but them defenestrating the ability of this government to enforce white-collar crime at all. Did MAGA care? No.
Right. So if you guys don't know what she's referring to, okay? So like, for example, right, Trump coin, when Trump coin was happening, okay? You also have to keep in mind that what Trump did was that they basically defunded the bureaucratic organization that was meant to investigate crypto crimes, okay? Crypto crimes, all right? And the fact that they did that while Trump has basically done the crypto rug pull is just very blatant corruption. It's extremely blatant corruption, right? Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that Krystal Ball is referring to.
They didn't. The only people that held them to account were left and liberals who organized against that, and yes, successfully made Elon so toxic that he ultimately crashed down of the administration. That's
yeah, and then CoffeeZilla is like now feeling kind of suicidal, all right, because he's like, nothing I do matter. Nothing I do matters, okay? It's completely useless. What can I do? What can I do to actually be against crypto scams? There's nothing I can do against the president. I'm so black-pilled, all right? That's what he was like.
That's what happened.
So let me try explaining it this way and see if I can get through
yeah, Coffee is sad, yes.
So you keep telling me all the things that Trump did wrong. Of course he did. So I'm saying that it's a given that he's always going to do, for example, 90% of things massively wrong. And in the other 10% that he plans to do wrong, I'm saying we have a fighter's chance if we ally and we show hypocrisy.
I don't know if crypto was in the CFPB purview, then double check it. Okay? Double check it yourself. Yeah.
Or we get allies. It's a win-win either way, okay? So, for example, in opposing the war, either they become our allies and somehow at some point we stop this war, or we show, oh, you guys never meant it. Now you're the pro-war party, which makes us much more likely to win over independence and win the next election. But as I say that, you keep framing it as if I agree with them 90%, and where I think that I'm going to flip them overnight on the 90% where we disagree. No, there's no chance of that. So you can stop asking that question. They're not going to move on cutting the budget, and they're not going to listen that, hey, you know what, you shouldn't cut the malaria treatment in Africa. You shouldn't cut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau because every dollar we spend there, we get back $20, et cetera. But if you go with your maximalist approach, guys, and you say, all right, I'm fighting you in a maximum way, so that means I'm never going to agree with you. I'm going to insult you at every turn. I'm not going to listen to you. So when you come in and you go, hey, guys, let's ally against the war, or maybe did you think that Elon's and I said this in every right-wing talk show that I did, and I said it at the Charlie Kirk event, I said, remember, beware of your own donors like Elon Musk. And then eventually they got aware of their own donors. Now, did they do it magically and overnight? No, it was mainly a fight between Elon and Trump, right?
Yes,
And it was their
of
egos.
course.
And,
It had nothing to do with Charlie
and the
Kirk.
reason they are unpopular is not because the left's maximalist approach.
Did anyone does anybody know whether or not Ozempic like causes delusional rants or delusional thoughts or something? Listen, not specifically talking about Cenk here, okay, but just a little curious.
Of
Okay.
yelling fascist that every Trump voter is working, it's because their policies are deeply unpopular.
And who
about
explains
a
that their
straw man.
policies are deeply unpopular? The left and liberals are the ones that highlight how deeply unpopular those policies are.
I actually heard the reverse. It can help you focus. Oh, okay. Well, you know, Vyvanse does a much better job of that, I think.
So that's where the
like
credit belongs.
Like I do. So
right,
like,
but that's
you
not
make it
like Joe
sound
Rogan
like
does,
I'm
right?
not in
Joe
that
Rogan
left
doesn't
that's
do that.
saying
Charlie
how
Kirk
unpopular
doesn't do
they
that.
are, when
They
I
don't do
just
that.
said how unpopular they are.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
my
it's
point
amazing.
is, Joe Rogan and Charlie Kirk don't do that, Cenk.
Don't talk that way about my wife. Okay, my fucking awesome wife.
They're not allies. Joe Rogan and Charlie Kirk don't do that. Steve Bannon doesn't do that. Sloppy Steve goes and gives Trump a hand job every day. That's the point, is that they're not allies. And by the way, even on the Iran war thing, they're lying. They are lying. We literally have the quotes right here.
They're not.
Charlie Kirk is already backpedaling. Quote, we must trust Trump in this situation. Steve Bannon, if Trump ultimately decides to bomb Iran's nuclear sites, MAGA would come around. That's not me speaking, that's Steve Bannon. The vast majority of the MAGA movement will go, look, we trust your judgment. We don't like it. In fact, we may hate it, but we'll get on board. Tucker Carlson called Trump and apologized, and he also said on his podcast with Steve Bannon, quote, I like Israel. I don't talk about Gaza because my audience got mad at me. He said, quote, watching Donald Trump, who at his core is sincere about peace, I feel for President Trump, and he just has to roll with it. That is not true. What he's saying is not true. These are not allies. They will immediately start moving the goalposts as soon as Trump starts bombing Iran.
Here we go again.
You're going to get this. You're going to get, oh, he's getting bad advice from the neocons around him. It's not a big deal. It's a limited attack. It's defensive. It's not offensive. This isn't like Iraq. There are no boots on the ground. The only people who are sincere that I will grant you, Cenk, is libertarians, so Thomas Massey and Dave Smith, because libertarians have a track record, like Ron Paul did, of being very principled, but everybody in MAGA, or 99% of them, will bend the knee, just like...
Are they? I don't know about that one, Kyle.
99%.
Also, saying Dave Smith, Jesus Christ, that guy.
Of the ones in Congress have already bent the knee. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's saying things...
Kyle, quote, Food's landlord as well, peace through war. Yeah, okay, so what Chinchilla is talking about here is specifically what my landlord said. My landlord basically went up to my door, pressed his face against the screen door and said, did you hear about it? Trump is bombing Iran. And I'm like, wait, are we talking about the same Trump that is like no new wars Trump? We will end all wars Trump, the same Trump? And he's like, yeah, peace through war. Peace through war. Peace through strength. There's no convincing these guys, okay? You can't convince them.
Things that are against the war, she's ultimately not signing on to the bill to block the war.
Okay, so here we go again. So again, 90-10, guys. The framing of that question makes it sound like I think Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson have good intent, and my God, they're ready to rebel on everything against Donald Trump.
I said Iran.
No.
I said Iran.
Can I just answer a question?
But I didn't say that. I said Iran.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. So I think that obviously 90% of the influencers, the hosts, etc., are going to stick with Trump 100%, right? Well, I wouldn't even say 90%. I'd say 75% or so. Are they going to kiss his ass on everything? Well, of course they are. They're on the right, and their whole ecosystem is based on kissing politicians and leaders' asses. Now, let's be honest, not us and not you guys, but MSNBC and now a lot of online hosts on the left, their job is to kiss the Democratic ass, and they say, oh yeah, Joe Biden was young and dynamic, etc. So yes, we have the partisans, and they are, by definition, always going to stick with...
He's through watching you with my secret camera. Shush! Don't say that.
One side is great, the other side is the devil. okay? So now when you get to the 25% of hosts, because now the reason I moved it from 10 to 25, because you're including Rogan, etc. So is Rogan the same as Steve Bannon? If you think he is, that's just totally wrong. Now, do they agree on a lot of things? Yes. Do they agree on everything? No. Does Steve Bannon right about most things? No, he's horribly, horribly wrong about most things. So will they, when Trump says heal, will they heal? In the beginning, yes, and that's exactly what you're seeing. But the reason they're having to heal is because they started rebelling in the first place. And Trump got mad, and everybody else got mad. And even today, you just go on any website. So Bannon is saying, don't go to war, it's terrible. Is he then saying, oh, Donald Trump?
Bannon's smart. Bannon literally lays out what the... Dude, he literally lays out the entire alt-right playbook. Not the alt-right playbook, but like the far-right playbook. Like he literally lays it all out, okay? I don't even know why people aren't listening to Steve Bannon. Like he's... Or like not taking him seriously on the left, okay? Because he literally is laying out every step like MAGA has to do in order to achieve a fascist dictatorship, okay? Like Hitler 2.0. He literally lays out every step, dude.
Of course he is, because he's on
Like,
that side. And did we
yeah.
see a lot of left-leaning hosts go, oh, well, Joe Biden...
Like, again, it's with like this black pill. It's with this black pill that you can lay everything out in the open and no one will ever listen. Like, no one will ever think that it's a bad thing, right? Like, as long as you lay everything out in the open, nobody will ever take it seriously.
and Kamala Harris are corporate
stuff.
guys and they're bad, but we have to go with them anyway. Yes, we did. But look, you have to be honest about what's actually happening. So if you guys are saying, and I'm not trying to strawman you guys like you did, in my opinion, in the framing of every question. So I'm asking you, are you really, you're saying it's all...
You got, listen, this is a couple, all right? I ship this, okay? You guys have no idea how hard I ship. Look at these. They're both like chuckling and laughing, all right? They're having a blast, okay? This is the ultimate couple, all right?
All fake, and you think that all these right-wing hosts are not actually anti-war, that this is... But they've been telling their audience now for months that,
Cenk,
that the war is a terrible... Let me ask the question. And that the war is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea, but... And how...
They're literally a couple. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're literally a couple, yes. But this is like OTP,
how would that strategy work? So
the one true couple, okay?
they get their audience totally against the war, then they capitulate to Trump.
Let me tell you how that strategy.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Let me explain. Let me explain how that strategy works.
My answer to your question is yes, by the way. In 99% of cases, they are just lying, and they'll go and suck Trump off again.
So let me...
That's a real disagreement.
They're already backing off, and the war didn't even start yet. We didn't even bomb the nuclear sites yet. They're already backing off.
How this strategy works, okay? They postured as anti-war because they thought it was a good electoral strategy. So now they have some track record laid of claiming that Trump is the pro-peace candidate, blah, blah, blah.
And why was it a good strategy? Because their voters are anti-war.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, the polling is wildly...
Dude, why? Okay, just let Krystal speak for just two minutes, okay? Just let Krystal speak, and then you can go back to yapping, all right? Oh my god, dude, just let someone else talk for like 2 minutes. Oh my god. I am so tired. I'm so tired of letting this ugly, fugly, like fucking rotund man, all right? This fucking rotund cat, okay? This rotund man, all right? Interrupt my OTP, okay? Stop, all right? You are not aura farming, okay? You have negative riz, okay? All right, stop this, like fucking magnanimous horribleness, right fucking meow, okay? All right, Jesus Christ, oh my God, just look at him. He's such a gruesome creature, ugh.
That's with you, Cenk, on that. We can come back to that in a second. But okay, so but this is the pro-peace tick.
I want my OTP Aryan couple, okay? I want my OTP Aryan couple to speak their shit, okay? I want them to start spitting.
Okay, whatever. And I think there were a lot of independents actually who were swayed by that anti-war message, which was completely at odds with reality and with Trump's first term. I think we all agree with that, okay? So I think there were independent voters who were swayed by that. Charlie Kirk and others, now to maintain some credibility, they have to...
yeah, I'm beginning to think that Cenk is maybe not grifting, because the thing is that he's making arguments so stupid. Remember, if you can explain it away with stupidity, you should explain it away with stupidity, right? Because 99% of the chance it's not malice, right? Dude. So he's just moronic? He's just stupid? That's it?
Postulate, oh, you know, Trump is getting pulled into this and the neocons are tricking him and confusing
It's
him,
never
etc.
his fault.
But we already know how this plays out because it's already played out. Trump called Tucker kooky and said he needs to get a TV network, basically saying he's a has-been. Tucker called him to apologize. That was a message not just to Tucker, but to everybody else. Time to bend the knee, time to get on board. And they did. They did.
Yeah.
So we don't have to guess. It's already happened. It's already played out.
All right,
They've already bent the knee.
Okay, so we're now actually approaching an actual disagreement rather than
he's
the one that was foisted upon me that I did. I don't like. So all right, so guys, you think that all of these guys and their voters are all liars, and that they're not actually.
I don't know why you lump in the voters because
I'm talking about the voters.
Okay, well let's talk about the voters. Talk about the voters then. Let me ask you. Let me ask you a really simple question. Let me ask you a really simple question about the voters.
Yeah, well, you of course you like the Trump and the Republicans, or you trusted them. No, I don't. Stop saying it.
Cenk,
you said
let me ask a really basic
37 to 1 vote. You said how many Republicans voted for war powers? I said 1, Tom Massey, and you kept going like, oh, did you know that they didn't? I said yeah. I said I
because they're fake.
So
but
yes,
Cenk,
they're voters.
Let me ask you this question.
That their voters are not anti-war at all. So be clear.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question.
Are you saying they're actually liars?
Let me ask you this question. Which base, the Democratic Party base or the Republican Party base, which one do you think is more opposed right now to war with Iran? Which one?
The left. It's not even close.
It's not even close. Exactly. That's the point. And so if you are going to build, if you're going to build a grassroots people-powered movement with bodies in the streets to oppose war, where do you need to go for those numbers? The left, because they're already there with you. And by the way, the MAGA base.
Dude, why is Krystal Ball just correct? Why is she just right? If you're just trying to get people to oppose the war, yes, you should look to the left. Oh my god.
The minute that Trump says we're in a war with Iran, they are going to overwhelmingly back him because they have every single time.
You have the numbers already.
So put up 8. This is element 8, I believe, for us. These are the poll numbers. Now, there are other polls out there, I grant you, but this is among Trump 2024 voters.
Do you support or oppose the United States providing offensive support?
You ask them, do you support or oppose the U.S. providing offensive weapons to help Israel strike Iranian military targets? What we're doing now, 79% support. Do you support or oppose the U.S. taking its own direct military action, if necessary, to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons? That's exactly the framing that Trump is using right now. Support, 72%. They are more pro-war. So are there some who, don't want to get in another foreign entanglement? Sure. But overwhelmingly, are they going to back?
Dude, this is literally a fight back ninja moment, okay? Because I feel like Cenk doesn't want them to talk because he knows he's gonna get cooked, all right? But Krystal Ball really brought out the facts and logic, okay? Facts and logic don't care about your feelings type shit, okay?
Iran war? Are they already backing an Iran war because Trump says so? 100%.
Okay, so let's establish who we're talking about. So when you talk about Trump and the Republican politicians, 99% of them are liars. They're going to be pro-war. They're going to do all the terrible things that we're against, that we are all against, including me. Okay. Now, when you move to the media, I'm out on a limb, and I get it. If you grant them an inch, people will say, okay, that's it. You love them, and you're a Trump supporter, et cetera. But I'm doing it anyway because I'm being honest. I think 75% of them are unreachable, but 25% of them at a minimum.
Wait, but that's not a worthwhile use of your effort. You're talking about like 25% of 75%, right? You're talking about a percentage of a percentage. They're not reachable. These people are not reachable. Okay, I don't get why he's trying to present this as like, yeah, you know what? As long as we get like 25% of the 75% of the 60% of the 25% of the MAGA people who will listen, who might even start to begin considering things, then we'll win this thing, right? What a fucking delusional point. What an absolutely ridiculous, redonkulous thing to say. All right, it's as redonkulous as my mom not being hot. Okay, she's very hot. Okay, I would fuck her. Okay.
Actually will listen to you, have their own audience pushing them to be anti-war. They're not with us on all issues. They're not with us on most issues. But on war, I think that a significant chunk of them are with us. Okay, so when you go to Charlie Kirk's audience, for example, why is Charlie Kirk even dipping his toe into the waters of opposing Trump's policy on Iran and then quickly rushing back out? The quickly rushing back out is obvious. They're ass kissers, right? So the question is, why did he dip his toe in the first place? Because he did a poll of his own audience, and his audience said 90-10 do not help Israel go to war with Iran. 90-10. That's his audience, okay? So now you move to the last category, which are the voters themselves. That is where I am most hopeful that they actually are anti-war. Now, does that mean 100% of them are anti-war? No, not at all, okay? But I think a solid 50% of Trump voters, remember, a lot of them are independents, or a lot of them are in somewhere in the spectrum. At least 50% of them are actually anti-war. So what I'm seeing is all over social media, all over the right-wing shows, their own base in an uprising. Why do you think Charlie Kirk, Tucker, and Bannon are doing those things? Almost all of them are saying on their own shows, well, you guys are pushing me to do this, you know, and yeah, I hear you guys. We were supposed to be anti-war, right? Now, they're gonna, guys, since this is like the first 6 months, are they gonna go run back to daddy? Of course they're gonna run back to daddy, right? So what we're trying to do is not turn all of them against all of Trump's policies instantly, because that is wildly unrealistic. You are trying to either flip them or show hypocrisy to the voters that you can reach on the issues where they agree with us. There aren't that many, but war is one of them with half of his.
That's not true, dude. They are so much more inclined to go back to Trump rather than listen to Cenk. I just don't get why he thinks that this is a good avenue to go down. Like maybe you can get them to concede one day on like an issue that you're like vehemently arguing for, but then the moment that Trump makes his next king's decree, you know that they're gonna come crawling back to Trump, right? Like, what is even the point of like winning on a single point? They're not gonna win. You're not gonna win. It's not even worth the time, even if you're successful. Even if we're just assuming you can move them a little bit inch, like a little inch on the needle, okay, just even a little bit, it's not worth the time. It just makes no sense whatsoever for him to be like, I don't know, it's just, I don't even know why I'm arguing this. I think it should be obvious, okay? That's why. All right.
So you guys think that if the left wing does a maximalist approach and we yell at those people, that those voters are going to interpret it as, oh,
Cenk really thinks he's the main character of his own story. He really thinks that he's going to be Al-Gaib, okay, from Dune. All right. Muad Al-Gaib from Dune, where he's going to lead the chosen people to victory or some shit.
Oh my God, they were right. Since they're yelling at me, I will now go to their side. My strategy is go on those shows to talk to their audience and say, look, I'm not trying to trick you. I think you guys actually,
This kind of reminds me of like Mr. Girl saying like, yeah, I will convince them. I'm built differently. Yes, I will convince them. Like, this is like, again, what Cenk is doing right now is just textbook narcissism, right? Like, he's just doing textbook narcissism. Narcissism. Okay.
A lot of you are actually anti-war. And I'm anti-war. And guys, you'd be surprised that they don't think the left is anti-war at all. They would have the same exact conversation in reverse. They would ask incredulously, who do you think is more anti-war, left or right? And they would all say right, and that the left is more pro-war. And I'm like, no, guys, no, we're totally anti-war. So Dave Smith and I did a coalition. Dave Smith did a great job on your show, Breaking Points. Fantastic. I agree with you. Libertarians are the first to peel off. And great, look, we peeled off
No, what the fuck, dude? Dude, can you imagine spending all of your time to try to appeal to Dave? You should be okay, listen, there's an entire population of people out there who are ex-MAGA people who are alone and they need support. Okay, they need support because like Richard Hanania, okay? Richard Hanania is one, all right? Somebody who has peeled off, but who peeled off on their own, okay? We're not talking about people who still need to be peeled off. We're talking about people who have already peeled off but find themselves alone. These people are more prone to going back to Trump if you don't give them any support, okay? You should be focusing your energy there, okay? Not this weird fucking zone where you're trying to get these people to I don't know, like get on your side when they're currently on the MAGA. You need people to realize themselves that they need to change, okay? You can't do it for them, okay? You can't do it for them. You can't. You can't do it for them, all right? You need to get the people who just exited the cult, all right? Not people who are currently in the cult. They're not going to listen to you because they're going to use cult defense mechanisms, okay?
Libertarians
Yeah.
on the issue of war. Perfect. And we're doing a website, unitedagainstwar.com, where I'm inviting allies. And if it turns out only the libertarians come and the right wing does not come, okay, then that's what happened. So now, if you're saying that no revolt happened at all, it was all fake, all the media guys were fake, 100% of them, and all the voters were fake, 100% of them, and they all actually love war. Okay, that's a straw man. I don't think you're saying that. But you got to tell me what you are saying. Are you saying that none of their voters are anti-war, or a big chunk, or a small chunk, and that if we yell at them, they'll become more anti-war, or if we...
Cenk is naive, but labeling him conservative as Krystal does is crazy. I think that's like the most minor issue among like Cenk's current like ridiculous fucking thing right now. I think that's a minor issue compared to whatever Cenk is doing right now. But yeah, I mean, like I don't agree with it for sure. But
reach out and say, hey, let's form an anti-war alliance, there'll be more anti-war.
Not a big deal.
So I'll tell you what I'm saying. I think that once Trump starts bombing Iran, those numbers we just showed you are correct. So like 70 to 80% of the Republican base will be in favor of it. That's what I'm saying about it. But I want to ask you, when Trump does bomb Iran, do you think the number among Republicans will stay at only 50% supporting it, or is it going to go up to 70 or 80%? Hey guys, this is just a little piece of an hour-long debate that Krystal and I did with Cenk Uygur about the best path forward and how to resist.
I wouldn't say it was a little piece. It was pretty sizable. I like it.
Rising fascism in this country and Trumpism. It got very heated at different points. We have clear differences in ideological perspectives. And everybody got a little riled up, but ultimately I think it was good to get all these ideas out there. If you want to see the whole thing, sign up below on Substack. You're not going to want to miss it. I will say this. Krystal did the first 30 minutes. I did the second 30 minutes. We wanted to split it up a little bit so that it wasn't like her and I jumping in and alternating, because it makes it harder to flesh out a point. So she got the first 30 minutes. I got the second 30 minutes.
Good promo. I mean, like, hey, you know, lock the second half of the debate. It's fine. I think that's fine. All right. For people who do want to see more of whatever this is. Okay. I think that's fair. That's fine.
You're going to want to see the whole thing. It was a lot of fun. So sign up below and enjoy.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor.
Look at this. Look at my OTP. Look at my Aryan OTP. Look at this. This is my Aryan OTP. Look at that shit. Look how happy they are. All right. They're having a great time. Look at this. My favorite couple. All right. My favorite political OTP. Okay. All right. I miss brunette. Kyle was a brunette. Oh, you mean how he dyed his hair? Oh, yeah, I remember that. Cool, that was based. That was fun. All right. That's enough politics for now. Okay, that's enough politics for now. Fuck. Can you imagine covering politics? What a fucking loser, dude. Imagine covering politics. Lame.